today's event, which we all know is to validate work that has been going on for months now. Considering the important role that livestock continues to play in the socio-economic development of this country, the government of the Gambia, through the Ministry of Agriculture, had over the years indicated the need to update our veterinary legislation in order to enhance the performance of our veterinary services for an improved livestock production in the country. Through its partnership with the African Union Inter-African Bureau for Animal Resources, AU-IBA, this continental body agreed to facilitate, to give the support required to enable us, review and update the obsolete veterinary legislation for the veterinary domain in this country. The process started since and has culminated in the production of an animal health bill, proposed amendments to the Gambia Veterinary Council Act 2000, and the proposed amendments to the Obsolete Disease of Animals Act 1944 regulations. As a member of the OIE, that is the World Animal Health Organization, we ensured that this review and update process made use of the OIE guidelines for veterinary legislation as much as possible so that the final instruments are in line with international standards. The process took the form of audit exercise of the legal instruments that have to do with the veterinary domain in this country. It also ensured that a consultative fora were organized with stakeholders so that, all relevant issues regarding veterinary legislation is enhanced in this country. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, in the wave of increased trade in livestock and livestock products, emerging and re-emerging animal diseases and zoonosis, and the increasing demand for animal products, having an updated veterinary legislation is indispensable for any veterinary services such as that of the Gambia to be able to effectively and efficiently deliver on its mandate. There are many other reasons why veterinary services such as that of the Gambia should be equipped with a sound veterinary legislation. We all know that a key function of the veterinary services is the detection, control, and the prevention of infectious diseases in animal populations as well as zoonotic diseases in humans. It has traditionally been assumed that when an infectious disease is noted in animals, it has occurred under natural circumstances. However, in today's world, the very real possibility exists that infections can be introduced into human and animal populations deliberately. If agents are zoonotic in nature, humans as well as animals may be affected. Therefore, veterinary services need to be very much aware of not only the risks of natural or accidental introductions of disease agents, but also deliberate introduction of animal and zoonotic pathogens. They must be ready to respond quickly and effectively, and when necessary in a multi-sectoral manner, that is, coordinating their disease control activities with human health agencies, human and veterinary diagnostic laboratories, and the law enforcement and national security agencies, among others.
The African Union, through AU-IBA, places a lot of importance on the livestock sector on the continent, especially ensuring the health of all the animals as they contribute to the objectives that I just stated above. It is for this reason that AUIBA is keen to support African Union member states in reviewing and updating their veterinary legislation so that it meets these international standards that all countries are required to meet. Thus, for AUIBA, this is the reason that it has provided financial and technical support to the process of reviewing and updating veterinary legislation in the Gambia. AUIBA is keen to ensure that this process comes to a successful conclusion. It is therefore pleasing to note that we are now in the final phase of this review process, and it is hoped that finally the revised legal instruments will be forwarded to the legislature for enactment into law. On behalf of AUIBA, I wish to thank, through the Honorable Minister, the government of the Republic of the Gambia for providing the environment for this process of review of the legislation in the veterinary domain. I also wish to thank all the stakeholders that have participated in this review from the beginning up until now for their efforts and keenness in ensuring that legislation is properly reviewed.
Today you will hardly enter a provincial household, especially in the rural areas, without coming across a sheep, goat, horse, donkeys, and even chicken. Traditional cattle rearing continues to be a major subsistence activity for some of our rural communities too. Because in the rural area, our women, our farmers, even male farmers, they rear animals so that at least they can keep the household going. Because without small ruminants, I just compare livestock to our horticulture subsector. Because it's one of the potential areas. If we want to be self-sufficient in food production in this country, these two components has to move together. So that's why even livestock services is part of my baby. Yeah. I will see to it that livestock production in this country is enhanced. Although climate change affects the whole agricultural sector, in the Gambia, livestock production seems to be a bit more resilient, such that farmers have always resorted to their animals for their sustenance in case of crop failure. And that is true. Because in any crop failure, our rural people, our rural farmers, they embark on livestock production so that at least their livelihood can be improved. Our women and the youth have always been engaged in livestock production. However, there seems to be an increase in the number of people in this category that are taking up livestock production, especially small ruminant and the poultry production, as a serious agricultural activities that they think can bring them economic uplift. Despite these good attributes and the bright future that lie ahead for the livestock subsector globally and indeed for the Gambia, the sector continues to be affected by a number of challenges. Among these are increased trend of outbreak of emerging and re-emerging diseases, severe food and water shortage, inadequate marketing opportunities, weak state of our veterinary services, which is mainly due to the severe shortage of veterinarians. It is against this backdrop, therefore, that the Gambia government, through my ministry, endeavors to put up efforts to revive the livestock sector we continue to engage our partners in this endeavor. The need to create the right policy environment continues to be a priority for us. In fact, this is what has led us to this day, that's today. We cannot continue to see a trend in which more than 5% of our animals are lost to diseases. In terms of monetary value, this will be equivalent to about $151 million annually. That's a big loss. In terms of meat quantity, this is about 1,900 metric tons. This is indeed quite significant. So based on that, this document, we need to push it. I'll see to it that this document has approved so that at least we can implement it effectively. Veterinary legislation is necessary for any country's livestock sector to harness its potential. This is more so in this era of climate change, increased international trade, and emerging and re-emerging of new animal diseases and pathogens. Veterinary legislation is an essential part of a country's infrastructure. It avails veterinary services the powers and the authorities needed to carry out their chief functions in the veterinary domain efficiently in order to ensure public safety and promote the public good.